I raised 2 children with everything I had, and one of them secretly prepared papers to declare me mentally incompetent. I turned 65 on a cold gray November evening. No balloons, no celebration, just a birthday cake with flickering candles struggling against the draft in the room. I sat quietly on a folding chair, the only one I owned in a space most people wouldn't even use for storage. A garage, my home. The faint smell of old motor oil clung to the walls no matter how many lavender candles I burned. But I tried to make it feel like something close to warm, something close to enough. Ethan was there, my son, all grown up now, a tech entrepreneur from Seattle, with a smile that looked like it had never known struggle. He stood tall and proud in a designer suit that probably cost more than my groceries for half the year. "Happy birthday, Mom," he said, with genuine affection. "Are you enjoying the apartment I got for you?" I looked into his eyes, and for a moment I wanted to lie. I wanted to protect his pride, to pretend everything was fine. But something inside me had shifted. Maybe it was the chill in the air that never fully went away, even with the space heater buzzing uselessly in the corner. Maybe it was the ache in my bones, or maybe it was just the way the silence had become too loud to ignore. I whispered, "I live in the garage, Ethan." Silence, heavy, awkward, real. Vanessa, my daughter, sat across from me, elegant as ever, with her sharp eyes and polished demeanor. Her wine glass slipped from her hand and crashed to the concrete floor, red liquid bleeding across the gray like a truth finally exposed. But what pierced me deeper was the look on her face, not surprise, recognition. Ethan turned slowly, his eyes scanning the room like he was seeing it for the first time. The narrow cot, the hot plate near the sink, the garage door hidden behind a thin tapestry that barely kept out the cold. The look on his face shifted from pride to confusion, then to something harder. Something hurt. And in that moment, I realized I'd spent too many years staying silent to keep the peace. But silence had cost me more than words ever could. It was time to stop pretending. It was time to tell the truth. Because survival is not the same thing as love. And being quiet isn't the same thing as being cared for. I watched Ethan's eyes move slowly from one corner of the garage to the other, taking in the truth that had always been here, just buried beneath good intentions and someone else's carefully constructed lies. The exposed water heater in the corner. The rusted toolbox I'd never had the heart to throw away. The chipped concrete floor still stained from the previous owner's oil leaks. He looked confused, like he was trying to match the image in his head to the reality in front of him. But they didn't fit. Not even close. He pointed toward the tapestry I'd hung to cover the garage door. "Wait, this isn't a mom, you mean? This isn't—" I nodded slowly. "It's not a converted apartment, Ethan. This is the garage. I've been living here for 3 years. His mouth opened like he was about to respond, but no words came out. I could see it happening in real time, his mind working, trying to reconcile everything he thought he'd done with everything I was quietly surviving. His whole face changed, not in anger, not in defense, but in heartbreak. I thought he started then, ran his hand through his hair, that nervous gesture I remembered from when he was a boy, and didn't know how to fix something. I thought it was a separate unit, like a guest house. That's what Vanessa said. That's what the listing said. I could hear his confusion turning into something deeper now, something heavier. I tried to soften it. I didn't want to make a fuss. I said, my voice calm, steady, "When you handed me the keys, you looked so proud. You said you'd found me the perfect place. And I wanted to believe you did. I didn't want to seem ungrateful." He looked at me, then really looked, like he was seeing me for the first time in years. My thin sweater, my worn-out slippers, the portable space heater humming feebly at my feet, the birthday cake still sitting on the folding table between us, untouched, the candles now melted into puddles of wax. And then there was Vanessa. She was crouched down, picking up shards of her broken wine glass with paper towels, her expression frozen, carefully controlled. But I'd known that face for too long not to see it for what it was. She wasn't surprised. And that's when I knew, with bone-deep certainty, that she had known all along. Vanessa stood up and smoothed her silk blouse, careful not to look me in the eye. Well, she said too brightly, that's unfortunate. I mean, I thought this space was fully converted. It looked that way when I checked on it a while ago. Ethan's eyes snapped toward her. When did you check on it? Vanessa, she blinked. Last year, I think. Or maybe the year before. 3 years, I said quietly, not looking at her. I've been here for 3 years. The air in the room thickened. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was dangerous, like the truth was starting to squeeze its way into the cracks that had held our family together. Ethan stepped back from the table, pacing slightly, trying to hold on to logic. Vanessa, you told me Mom was all set. You said she was happy, that she loved the privacy and the simplicity. You said she was in the main house, and this was just extra space storage or something. Vanessa laughed nervously. Well, you know Mom. She doesn't really need much. She likes to keep things simple. And I mean, she never said otherwise. I stared at her then finally, and my voice came out low but clear. Because I trusted you. That was the moment. The one that cracked something open in me. For 3 years I'd said thank you. For 3 years I'd told myself to be grateful that I wasn't out on the street, that I had a roof even if it leaked, that I had heat even if it came from a little machine that barely warmed one corner of the room, that I had a son who cared even if everything I experienced contradicted that. But now I knew Ethan had cared. He just didn't know the truth, because Vanessa had hidden it from him. Ethan turned to me again, his voice quieter now. Mom, why didn't you tell me I looked at him and I saw the boy I raised, the one who used to cry when he saw me cry, the one who promised he'd buy me a big house someday when he made it big? Because I thought this was what you believed I deserved, I said, and I didn't want to take that away from you. His face crumpled. He sat down hard in the folding chair, hands clasped in front of his mouth. He didn't say anything, but his silence was full of grief and guilt. Meanwhile, Vanessa had returned to sipping a fresh glass of wine, posture flawless, eyes unreadable, but her fingers tapped too quickly against the stem of the glass, and I realized this wasn't unraveling the way she'd planned. She was losing control of the story. I could feel the shift in Ethan, that slow crumbling of trust, the dawning realization that the truth had been kept from him, and that the people he loved might not have been looking out for each other after all. Wait, he said suddenly, looking around again. Where's the central heating? There's none here. I've been paying utility bills, Vanessa. I've been paying heating bills for this address. I pointed to the portable heater buzzing uselessly near the wall. That's the only heat I have, sweetheart. The bills you're paying? They're probably for the main house. The room felt colder after that, as if the air had dropped 10 degrees. Vanessa's voice cut in crisp and defensive. The main house needed renovations. It wasn't livable. You said you didn't want Mom to have to deal with that kind of upkeep. Ethan turned to her, his voice shaking slightly. So you moved her into the garage? She seemed fine with it, Vanessa said with a shrug. I sat down slowly, my knees aching. But I needed to stay grounded. I needed to stay in this moment because it was the moment I finally stopped making excuses for things that had hurt me. I looked at my son, at his eyes filled with pain, and then at my daughter, who seemed to be preparing her next spin on the story. And I said the only thing I could. I stayed quiet, because I thought that's what love required. But silence isn't love. It's just hiding. That birthday wasn't just about candles or cake. It was about the moment an illusion finally shattered. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can only decide what to do next. The silence that followed my confession hung between us like thick smoke. Ethan hadn't moved from the chair. Vanessa had gone quiet again, her expression blank, polished as ever. But something had shifted, and I knew it wasn't just in the room. It was inside me, too. That night after they both left Ethan shaken, Vanessa stone-faced, I sat on my cot, wrapped in the same thin blanket I'd used for years, and allowed myself to remember. Not the edited version I'd repeated to myself for comfort. The real version. The one I'd buried beneath duty and practicality and motherly resolve. It started with Harold, my husband. He died when I was 48. A heart attack, sudden and cruel. One minute he was folding laundry and humming along to James Taylor, and the next he was gone. Just like that. I still remember the moment I got the call. The hospital floor under my shoes, the cold metal bench in the ER waiting room, and the two faces I had to return home to Ethan at 18, standing in the doorway like a young man too afraid to cry. Vanessa at 16, clutching her phone eyes, already calculating how her world would never be the same. The life insurance helped for a while, but bills don't stop for grief, and neither do kids. Ethan had just been accepted to MIT, my brilliant boy. Full scholarship, no. Not quite. Loans were offered, sure, but I saw what debt had done to people like us. My gut told me if he started his life already underwater, he'd spend the rest of it trying to catch air. So I made a decision. I sold the house, the one Harold and I bought after we got married, the one where I'd brought both my babies home from the hospital, where the growth chart still lived on the back of the pantry door, where every creak in the floorboard told a story only I remembered. I called it temporary, told the kids it was just until Ethan got through college. We moved into a tiny apartment on the edge of town. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no yard, no memories, just square walls and secondhand furniture. Vanessa was furious. At 16, image was everything. Her friends had backyards and breakfast bars. She had a folding chair and a kitchenette. She stopped bringing people home, stopped smiling at me too. All my friends live in real houses, she said once during a fight. You've embarrassed me. I didn't yell. I didn't explain the numbers or the sacrifices. I just apologized and made her favorite pasta that night, hoping she'd forgive me for keeping the lights on. I picked up extra shifts. By day, I stocked grocery shelves. At night, I cleaned office buildings downtown. On weekends, I babysat the neighbors' toddlers, while their parents went to dinner parties I could never afford to attend. My body ached in ways I didn't talk about, but I kept going, because Ethan was thriving. Each letter from MIT reminded me why I did it. Got an A in thermodynamics, he'd write. Scored an internship with Intel. And every time he came home for holidays, he looked a little taller, a little more confident, a little more like the man I'd always known he could be. And then one spring, 4 years later, he stood in our little living room in a cap and gown. A degree in one hand, tears in his eyes. Mom, I made it. Because of you. I cried. Of course I cried, but what I remember most isn't the diploma or the photos we took. It was what he said after. Now let me take care of you. He meant it. I know that now more than ever. He started sending money almost immediately. Got a job at a firm in Boston. Within a few years, he was a partner. Within 10, he'd launched his own startup. Moved to Seattle. His name started showing up in articles about tech disruptors and under 40 success stories. And somewhere along that rise, Vanessa began helping. She'd moved to Seattle, too. Took a job in marketing. She had always been sharp, always quick to sense opportunities. She started coordinating family logistics, handling details Ethan didn't have time for. He's so busy, she'd say. Let me make things easier. At the time, it made sense. He was building an empire. She was organized and charming. And I was tired. When my rent started going up, she said Ethan wanted to buy me something more suitable. When my back began to ache and I had trouble standing at the stove, she said Ethan wanted me to have something easier to manage. When I told her how lonely I felt in that little apartment, she smiled and said, "Don't worry, Mom, we're going to fix this." And when she handed me the keys to this place, the garage, I believed her. She drove me here like she was giving me a tour of a new condo. "Look at the exposed brick," she said. "It's so trendy now. You'll love the simplicity. No rent, no bills. Ethan's taking care of it all." I didn't question it. I didn't want to. I'd spent so many years learning how to make do that. I didn't recognize deprivation when it wore a pretty smile. That's the thing no one tells you about sacrifice. You think it earns you something in return, a little security, a little respect, maybe even gratitude. But sometimes all it earns you is silence. You shrink, you swallow, you disappear in service of someone else's success, and over time you forget you ever deserved more. I tucked my story away like I tucked everything else behind a curtain under the bed between the cracks in the drywall, until that birthday, until Ethan looked at me with those wide, devastated eyes, until I said, "I live in the garage," and he finally saw the cost of what had been hidden. I had spent decades being the strong one, the resourceful one, the mother who needed nothing. And in doing so, I had trained my children to believe I would always be okay, even when I wasn't. But that lie ends here. That night, as I sat under the dim light of the single bulb overhead, I made myself a new promise not to stop loving my children, but to stop disappearing for them. Because I'd done enough giving, it was time to remember how to receive. People like Vanessa don't raise their voice when they lie. They smile, they keep eye contact, they speak in calm, practiced tones that sound so reasonable you doubt your own instincts. That's how it started, with a smile and a folder full of papers she laid out across the kitchen table in my old apartment. "Ethan found you the perfect place," she said, her eyes glowing with a pride that wasn't hers to claim. "It's charming, low maintenance, and completely paid for. You'll never have to worry again." She made it sound like a gift, a golden gesture from a son who'd made good on his promise. And I believed her, because I wanted to. The years had worn me thin years of scrubbing floors, bagging groceries, and watching my body ache in new ways every season. The apartment rent had crept higher each year. The arthritis had crept deeper into my knees. My Social Security check barely covered the basics. So when Vanessa told me Ethan wanted to relieve that burden, I felt a wave of gratitude so strong I could have cried. I didn't know then that what she was really handing me wasn't security. It was erasure. She drove me to the property, talking the whole way about the neighborhood, the ease of access, the minimalist aesthetic that she said was trendy now. When we pulled into the driveway, I saw a modest house that looked like it had stories to tell, a place I could have loved. But we didn't go inside. Instead, she took me around the side gate and opened the door to the garage. "It's been converted," she said with a sweeping gesture. "All you need right here." Ethan's thrilled. "And look, no rent, no utilities. It's all taken care of." It wasn't a lie. Not exactly. But it wasn't the truth either. I walked through the space, slowly trying to let it feel like home. A narrow cot, a hot plate, one dusty window looking out onto the alley. I didn't see a bathroom, just a curtain over a small corner with a basin and mirror. The garage door had been covered with a sheet of plywood and some cheap insulation, but the cold still seeped in like a warning. Vanessa watched me closely, looking for signs of resistance, but I smiled. I nodded. I said, "It's lovely," because I didn't want to disappoint Ethan, and I didn't want to make trouble for Vanessa, not after everything I believed they were doing for me. I moved in the following week. At first, I tried to make the best of it. I hung curtains over the small window. I placed a few framed pictures of Harold and the kids on the wall. I found an old rug at a yard sale to make the floor less punishing on my bare feet. I told myself it was cozy, simple, a fresh chapter. And when the winter came and the little space heater struggled against the frost crawling in through the cracks, I bundled in layers and boiled water on the hot plate for warmth. Vanessa visited once, maybe twice that first year. She brought takeout and wine and sat perched on the cot like it might stain her coat. "It's great you're managing so well," she said, sipping her glass. "Ethan's really proud of how independent you've been." I nodded, because I thought that was what she needed to hear. But as time passed, I started to notice things. Ethan stopped calling. His texts came less frequently. He didn't send cards anymore or check in like he used to. I told myself he was busy, building something big, chasing his dream. I held on to that. and Vanessa. She became the middleman for everything. If I mentioned needing help with a prescription, she'd say, "I'll talk to Ethan." If I asked whether he got the thank you card I sent, she'd smile and say, "Oh yes, he loved it." When the space heater finally broke during a storm, I texted her. "I'll handle it," she replied, but it never got replaced. I started wondering if my messages were even being passed along. Still, I stayed quiet. I told myself that this was what aging looked like, fading into the background, living on less, and feeling grateful for whatever scraps of care you were given. But now I see it for what it was, a carefully curated illusion. Ethan had always been generous. Even in college, when he had so little, he sent what he could. So it didn't surprise me that as he climbed the ladder of success, he gave more. What I didn't know was that his generosity was being filtered, diverted before it ever reached me. Bank transfers, heating bills, maintenance fees, all sent from Ethan's account, all labeled Mom's Care, all routed through Vanessa. She assured him I was living comfortably in the main house. She told him I enjoyed my privacy. She said I liked the independence and that I never asked for more. And why would she say otherwise? Vanessa had something to gain by keeping me small, manageable, out of sight. Maybe it was money, maybe it was power, maybe it was some warped sense of justice for a childhood she never forgave me for. Whatever it was, it worked for a while. Ethan believed her. Why wouldn't he? He trusted his sister, and he trusted me to speak up if something was wrong. But I didn't. I had taught them both that I was strong, that I could endure, that I didn't need much, and so no one noticed when I started needing more warmth, more support, more love. For 3 years, Vanessa controlled the story. She played both sides, reassuring Ethan I was thriving and convincing me that he'd given me exactly what I deserved, that this cold, dim, converted garage was his idea of love. And I believed it, because sometimes when you've spent your whole life sacrificing for others, you stop expecting anything in return. You stop seeing mistreatment as betrayal. You start calling it modesty, simplicity, gratitude, but gratitude should never come at the cost of truth. And on my 65th birthday, the illusion broke. Ethan looked into my eyes, saw past the curated narrative, and finally asked the one question that changed everything. Why didn't I know? And I knew. It was time he did. The day after my birthday, the world felt different. Not because anything had been fixed, not yet, but because for the first time in years, I'd spoken the truth out loud. No more smiling through frostbitten nights. No more pretending a garage was a home. No more nodding when Vanessa painted over Ethan's love with convenient lies. And now Ethan wanted to see the truth for himself. He texted early that morning, "Mom, I want to visit the main house. Can we go today?" I simply replied, "Yes, it's time." He picked me up just after 10. He looked tired, his perfect hair slightly disheveled, his eyes rimmed with the kind of sleeplessness that only comes from emotional weight. He didn't talk much on the drive. Neither did I. We didn't need to. The silence wasn't heavy this time. It was intentional. Vanessa had always claimed the main house needed work, plumbing issues, foundations settling, mold even. She said it wasn't suitable for someone my age and certainly not safe. Ethan, busy with company launches and investor meetings, took her word for it. She was family. She was helping. And now here we were pulling up in front of the very same house. It looked perfect. The lawn had been manicured, fresh flowers bloomed in window boxes, and the path to the front door had recently been swept clean. I didn't say anything. I just watched Ethan's expression tighten as he stepped out of the car. He reached for the key he'd given Vanessa years ago and opened the front door. What we found inside was not a house under renovation. It was a home, a beautiful, well-maintained, fully lived-in home. The hardwood floors gleamed as if freshly polished. A soft rug stretched across the living room. There were throw pillows on the couch, a blanket folded neatly over the armrest. The dining table was set for two with fresh lilies in a vase, and linen napkins rolled with silver rings. The kitchen was spotless, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, cupboards full of spices and imported teas. It was stunning. and it took everything in me not to cry. "This is where you thought I was living," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Ethan nodded, but he didn't speak. He was walking slowly now, taking in every detail, the warmth, the comfort, the signs of someone's daily life. A book on the side table, a phone charger plugged into the wall, a jacket hanging neatly on a hook by the door, Vanessa's jacket. I followed him into the kitchen. He opened the fridge. It was fully stocked artisan cheeses, berries, organic eggs, fresh cuts of meat. Nothing like the canned soup and day-old bread I had in my mini fridge. He turned around slowly. His voice was lower, rougher. "Mom? Who lives here?" But I already knew. I'd suspected it for months. The expensive heating bills Vanessa claimed were for me. The upgraded appliances Ethan had paid for, the groceries, the cleaning service, the delivery packages. Vanessa had been living here, and not just hiding it, thriving in it. I didn't answer him. I didn't have to. Because just then, the front door opened. Vanessa. She stepped in holding a pastry box from an upscale bakery, dressed in a soft cream cashmere coat and designer heels that clicked confidently on the tile floor. Her face froze when she saw us standing there, me in my worn cardigan, Ethan looking like his entire world had tilted. "Well," she said, forcing a bright smile, "this is a surprise." Ethan's jaw clenched. "Is it?" She walked past us, set the box down on the counter, and began unboxing 2 croissants like nothing was wrong. I thought we could all sit down, talk things through, have a nice breakfast. Yesterday was emotional. He didn't move. "I thought this house was unlivable," he said coldly now. Vanessa didn't miss a beat. "Oh, it needed work at the beginning. Plumbing, electrical. You know how these older homes are. I took care of it. Didn't want to burden you?" "Burden me," he snapped. "You've been living here, haven't you? While Mom was in the garage?" She froze for just a second. That's all it took. Then came the spin. It was temporary. I needed a place while Marcus and I worked things out. Mom seemed fine in the converted space. "I paid for this house," Ethan said, voice shaking. "For her, for Mom. And you just moved in." Vanessa's shoulders straightened, her voice suddenly clipped. "You think she could maintain a place like this? It's too much for her. She doesn't need it." And that was the moment it broke for me. The years of pretending, the guilt she dressed up as care, the quiet cruelty behind her soothing tone. I stepped forward. "Then why didn't you tell him I was in the garage?" I asked her, calm and clear. Her mouth opened, but she didn't answer. Ethan turned away from her toward me. "Mom, I'm so sorry." I shook my head. "You didn't know, but now you do." He looked around the home once more, the place he'd envisioned me living in, a place filled with warmth, stability, safety, a place I hadn't even been allowed to enter. "I feel like a fool," he muttered. "No," I said gently. "You trusted your sister. That's not foolish. That's human." But the betrayal what Vanessa had done was not. She didn't just steal a house. She stole years of comfort, of dignity, of connection between a mother and her son. And worst of all, she did it with a polished smile and confident stride, as if it were her right to do so. Ethan sat down on the couch, his couch in a house he'd bought for me, and all he said was, "We're going to fix this." Ethan sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like he was trying to make sense of a world that had suddenly shifted under him. I stood nearby, watching the way his hands trembled, his jaw clenched. A man used to control suddenly drowning in something he never thought to question. Vanessa poured herself a glass of water at the kitchen sink, her movements precise, unaffected, at least on the surface. Then Ethan finally spoke. "I need to ask you something," he said, his voice low and brittle. Vanessa turned slowly. "Of course." He didn't look at her. He looked at me. "Mom, do you know about the trust fund I set up for you?" I blinked. "What trust fund?" He looked back at Vanessa, now eyes narrowing. The one I opened 3 years ago? $50,000 a year for Mom's living expenses, rent, groceries, medications, anything she needed. I set it up with my financial advisor. I asked you to help her access it. My heart stopped. Not metaphorically. I mean really stopped. I felt it seize in my chest before beating again in a slower, heavier rhythm. No, I said, my voice thin. No one ever told me about that. Vanessa's face didn't change, but her eyes flickered just for a second. I assumed she knew she said casually. You told me to help manage things. I was managing things. You've been managing her money, Ethan asked, incredulous. I've been coordinating, she replied, cool and measured. She said she was fine. She never asked for more. She's always been simple, low maintenance. Those last words landed like a slap. Low maintenance. As if the years I spent surviving quietly were some sort of character flaw. As if my silence meant I deserved less. As if my gratitude for scraps meant I wasn't worthy of comfort. I stepped forward, my voice trembling but sharp. Simple. You call me simple. Vanessa didn't blink. You never said you needed anything. I felt the years rise up all at once. Years of cold winters wrapped in 3 sweaters because the heater barely worked. Years of cutting pills in half to stretch prescriptions I couldn't afford. Years of telling myself it was okay, because at least I wasn't homeless. Because at least my children still cared. You want to know what I never asked for? I said, eyes locked on hers. I never asked to be lied to. I never asked for a son's love to be filtered through your hands. I never asked to be tucked away in a garage while you lived in the house meant for me. Vanessa's mask faltered. You're being dramatic, Mom. Ethan stood up. Stop calling her that, he snapped. Stop pretending she's the problem. She's been freezing in a garage for 3 years while you've been living like this. Vanessa crossed her arms. You gave me power of attorney. You said I could make decisions. I made decisions. I said help her. Ethan fired back. I said make sure she was taken care of, not manipulate her into disappearing. I could feel something breaking loose in him now, not just anger, but shame, regret. And in me, something harder, something long overdue. I looked around the room at the expensive furniture, the full fridge, the well-oiled life Vanessa had built on the back of my silence, and something in me snapped into focus. This wasn't just neglect. This wasn't some oversight or misunderstanding. This was betrayal, quiet, calculated, ongoing. Ethan turned to me, his face pale. What else don't I know? I hesitated. Then I told him. I told him about the time the heater broke during a snowstorm, and I'd spent the night huddled under 3 blankets, shivering, unable to feel my feet. I told him about the week I skipped meals to pay for my heart medication, about the doctor visits I canceled because I couldn't afford the copay, about the birthday when I sat alone eating a can of soup because Vanessa said he was too busy to call. He sank back onto the couch, stunned. I never knew he whispered. I know, I said, gently. That's the part that hurts the most. Vanessa scoffed. If you were struggling so much, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you speak up? I turned to her, my voice calm, steady now. Because I trusted you. Because I thought you were helping. Because I didn't want to be a burden. You weren't, Ethan said quickly, looking at me. You never were, and there it was, truth, the kind that cracks you open. Vanessa, still standing, shrugged like the room wasn't turning against her. You're rewriting history. I made sure she had what she needed. You made sure she had what you were willing to give, I said, not what I actually needed. You lived, she said flatly. You survived. That's not the same as being cared for. The words came from Ethan. He stood up again now, fully awake. Mom sacrificed her entire life for us, he said, facing Vanessa. She sold her home to send me to school. She worked herself to the bone to keep us fed. And you used that history to justify stealing from her. I didn't steal. Yes, you did. He cut her off. You stole comfort. You stole connection. You stole the chance for me to show her that I kept my promise. Vanessa went quiet. Her mouth opened, then closed. There was nothing left to spin. I looked at Ethan, And for the first time in a long time, he saw me not the version Vanessa narrated, not the low-maintenance woman tucked away in a garage, but me, the mother who had once stayed up sewing his Halloween costumes, who taught him how to boil pasta, who cried in silence while packing boxes after selling the only home she'd ever known. "I'm going to fix this," he said, voice shaking with emotion. "I don't know how yet, but I will." I believed him, because the truth was out now, and once it's spoken, it doesn't go back in the box. And as I stood there in the beautiful house I was never allowed to live in, I realized something even deeper. I hadn't just been betrayed by my daughter, I had also betrayed myself, by staying silent, by shrinking, by believing I wasn't worth more. But that was over now. No more shrinking, no more silence. I stood in the center of the house that was supposed to be mine, finally seeing it, not as a fantasy or a promise, but as a fact. Ethan had bought this place for me. He'd imagined me curled up by the fireplace with a cup of tea, tending to a small garden out back, aging with dignity. He'd made good on his word. It was Vanessa who had rewritten that story. And now Ethan was rewriting it back. He stepped away for a moment, his phone pressed to his ear. I watched him pace by the window, speaking in that sharp, efficient tone I recognized from news interviews and tech conferences. Only this time the stakes weren't profit margins or product launches, they were me. He ended the call and turned to face me. "The deed's being transferred into your name," he said. "Today. And the accounts, every one of them, will be moved under your full control. I've already instructed my legal team to remove Vanessa from anything related to your finances." I blinked. "Are you sure I should have done it years ago?" he said quietly. Vanessa stood near the hallway, arms crossed, her posture stiff. "You're overreacting." Ethan ignored her. He walked over to me and placed a hand on my shoulder. "This is your house, Mom. It always was. And I won't let anyone family or not take that away from you again." My knees wobbled slightly, not from weakness, but from the sheer weight of being seen, truly seen. For the first time in a long time, I felt something shift. Not in the world, in me, power. The kind I hadn't felt since Harold died. Maybe not even then. Vanessa took a step forward. "You can't just cut me out like this. I've managed everything for years. I kept things running." "Running on lies," I said, turning to her. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, here we go again." "No," I said, steady now. "Here it ends." She opened her mouth to protest, but I raised a hand. "You've spent years deciding what I deserve, what I need, what I should accept. You took my son's love and filtered it through your control. You put me in a garage while you lived in comfort. You told him I was fine, and when I suffered, you said it was my fault for not speaking louder." Vanessa's face tightened. "I did what I thought was best." "No," I said again, my voice firm. "You did what was best for you." For a moment, she said nothing, just stared at me. And then that old familiar tactic, the shift to guilt. "I gave up a lot too, you know," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "I've been dealing with your prescriptions, your appointments, your needs for years. Do you think it's easy being the one who always has to fix things?" I laughed softly but bitterly. "Fix things? Vanessa, I haven't seen a doctor in over a year. I split pills to make them last. You didn't fix anything, you erased me. You managed me like a task on a list, and then you collected the rewards. I was keeping you safe," she cried. "No," I said, once more, my voice quiet but cutting. "You were keeping me small?" Ethan stepped between us, his tone cold now. "You need to leave." Vanessa's mouth dropped open. "You're kicking me out, from a house you paid for." "From a house I bought for Mom," he corrected. "And as of today, it belongs to her. You have no place here." She scoffed, brushing invisible dust from her sleeves. "You think she can handle a place like this? You really believe she'll be okay without me?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "More than okay." I turned to her, then feeling every bone in my body settle into place. "I want you gone by the end of the week. I don't want to see you here again. I don't want your updates. I don't want your management. I want peace." Her face twisted not with remorse, but with the sourness of someone losing control. "You're both making a mistake," she said, grabbing her bag. "You'll see. She's not as strong as you think. She's going to need help." "No," I said. "What I need is healing, and you've stood in the way of that long enough." She stared at me for a long moment. I could see it in her eyes, that panicked search for leverage, a final manipulation, something to make me waver. But she found nothing, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't budging. She turned toward the door. "This isn't over," she muttered, but I knew better. For me, it finally was. Ethan didn't say anything until she was gone. Then he exhaled one long, slow breath and looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said, "for not seeing it, for trusting her too much, for leaving you to deal with all of this." I stepped closer and placed my hand on his. "You didn't abandon me. You were lied to, and I was too scared to correct the lie." He shook his head. "You shouldn't have had to." "No," I agreed, "but I know better now." He smiled faintly. "You really are the strongest person I know." I smiled back. That's what happens when you spend a lifetime holding up everyone else. Eventually, you learn how to hold up yourself. That night, I stayed in the main house, alone. For the first time, it was mine, not just in title, but in truth. I walked from room to room, touching the walls, running my fingers over the smooth wood of the dining table. I opened the windows, let the breeze in, lit a candle just because I could. I stood in the kitchen and brewed tea, real tea, not the instant packets I used to ration. I steeped it in a porcelain mug Ethan once sent in a care package I never received, and as I sipped, I let the silence wrap around me, not the silence of abandonment, but the silence of peace. Because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper in your own voice, saying I deserve more. And this time, I finally listened. A few days after Vanessa left, I was sitting at my kitchen table, sorting through bills and old photographs Ethan had helped me bring over from the garage. The air in the house still felt unfamiliar, like it hadn't quite accepted me yet. I moved slowly, like I didn't want to break anything, least of all the silence, which had finally begun to feel like mine. Then the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Ethan had said he'd stop by later that week, and the only person who ever used to show up unannounced was, well, you already know who. Oh. I opened the door and found a young woman standing on the porch, holding a manila envelope clutched to her chest. She had dark hair pulled into a neat bun, a blazer, and a calm but professional demeanor. "Mrs. Lynn," she asked, "my name is Jennifer Martinez. I'm a private investigator. I was hired by Marcus Chen, Vanessa's ex-husband. He's currently filing for divorce, and he believed there might be assets Vanessa was hiding." I blinked. "What does that have to do with me? May I come in?" I hesitated for only a moment before stepping aside. She declined the tea I offered and sat on the edge of the living room sofa, placing the envelope on the coffee table between us, like it carried something far heavier than paper. In the process of looking into Vanessa's financial records, Jennifer began, "We found some things that you should be aware of." She opened the envelope and began laying out documents, bank statements, signatures, wire transfers, property listings. "This is a savings account opened in your name," she said, pointing to one printout. "Roughly $40,000 in it. Have you ever seen this account before?" I leaned forward. My name was on the top, but the address listed wasn't mine. It was the main house. "No," I said, slowly. "I've never opened an account like this." Jennifer nodded. "It was opened 3 years ago with Vanessa listed as the secondary account holder. The deposits are consistent, small but regular. Some from government agencies, some from private reimbursements." I looked at her confused. "What kind of reimbursements?" She pulled out another page, Social Security overpayments, Medicare refunds, and she said, pausing for a beat, "A payout from a retirement insurance policy that was originally under your late husband Harold's name." My heart clenched. What Jennifer continued carefully. "Apparently, there was a secondary policy that wasn't dispersed with the original. When the insurance company merged, they tried to locate the beneficiary, you. But the address they had was outdated. Vanessa submitted paperwork claiming to be your legal representative. The funds were deposited into this account. I sat back slowly, the weight of what she was saying sinking in. But why wouldn't she use the money? Why just let it sit there? Jennifer reached for another document. That's where it gets more concerning. She showed me printed emails between Vanessa and a series of elder law attorneys. Vanessa was gathering information quietly on how to declare you legally incompetent. If she succeeded in doing so, she would gain full control over your medical decisions, your finances, and most significantly, she could make legal claims against other family members. I blinked. You mean Ethan? Jennifer nodded. In some states, if an elderly parent is declared mentally unfit, the guardian can pursue financial support from siblings, particularly if there's a large income gap. Given Ethan's status, she was planning to take his money, I whispered, and use me to do it. Jennifer gave a soft, professional pause. That's our assessment. I covered my mouth with my hand, trying to breathe through the sudden surge of disbelief. Not just because of what I'd learned, but because of how much deeper it went than I ever imagined. This wasn't about resentment or convenience anymore. This was a campaign, a plan, years in the making. I thought I was being cared for, I said. I thought she was helping. Jennifer leaned in slightly, her tone gentler now. I've worked on a lot of cases like this, Mrs. Lynn. You're not alone. Manipulation like this, it's quiet, it's methodical, and it's often disguised as love. Tears prickled at the corners of my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I couldn't, because I wasn't grieving anymore. I was seeing, truly seeing. Every time I'd called Vanessa to ask about groceries or prescriptions, she documented it. Every moment of vulnerability, every late-night message about needing help with heating or needing a ride to the pharmacy, she hadn't responded with compassion. She'd filed it away, turning my humanity into evidence. Evidence of incompetence, of weakness. I looked at the printout with my name on it. My name above numbers I never knew existed attached to a lie I never saw coming. She was going to erase me, I said quietly. Jennifer didn't disagree, and not just from my son's life, from everything. Jennifer gave a slight nod. We also discovered conversations she'd had with care facilities, places that take guardianship cases. She was preparing to move you somewhere quietly and permanently. My stomach twisted. It wasn't enough that she'd taken my home, my voice, my son's trust. She was preparing to take my autonomy too, my right to make decisions about my body, my money, my life, all while smiling, all while calling herself a daughter. I sat very still, breathing through the waves of betrayal that kept crashing into me. I wasn't just devastated, I was furious, not just at Vanessa, but at myself, for letting it go on for so long, for mistaking manipulation for protection, for telling myself that suffering was a small price for peace. Thank you, I finally said to Jennifer. Thank you for telling me, for showing me. Jennifer began collecting the documents. I'm happy to provide everything to your lawyer, and there's one more thing. I looked up. She's done this before. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? Jennifer hesitated. There are other names, other elderly individuals she's been corresponding about. She may have been planning to repeat the pattern. You weren't her only target, Mrs. Lynn. I closed my eyes. This wasn't just personal. This was predatory. And it had to stop. 6 weeks later, I sat in the courtroom and watched my daughter in an orange jumpsuit. The same hands that once held my fingers crossing the street now rested cold and motionless on the defense table. The same voice that used to call me Mommy in the dark after nightmares now stood silent as the judge listed her crimes one by one. Elder abuse, identity theft, fraud, 3 years in prison, full restitution to all victims including me and 2 other elderly women she had been targeting using the same carefully planned tactics. I didn't cry, not because I wasn't hurting, not because the betrayal didn't cut deeper than anything I've ever known, but because by the time the sentence was handed down, my tears had already done their work. I'd mourned the daughter I thought I had. I'd made peace with the truth. This wasn't about vengeance. It was about accountability. Vanessa had tried to erase me. She failed. And now, for the first time in decades, I had a life to live again. It's strange starting over at 65. You think reinvention is for the young, for people in their 20s, with blank slates and open calendars. But I was learning that a second bloom can happen late. And when it does, it's quieter, but more profound. I started with something simple. I planted roses. Ethan helped me dig the soil along the fence of the backyard that was now truly mine. We knelt side by side, our hands dirty, the sun warming our backs. I chose blush pink and deep crimson, the kind that smell like nostalgia. Every time I buried a root, I thought about the things I'd buried in myself over the years: grief, disappointment, silence. And now I was planting something else: color, hope, beauty that belonged only to me. I joined the community center's book club on Thursdays. The first time I walked in, I felt like a teenager showing up on the first day of school. But within an hour, I was laughing with strangers over bad coffee and dog-eared paperbacks. For the first time in years, I talked about novels, not medications, ideas, not errands. I also started dating. Yes, dating. His name is Tom. He's a retired music teacher with silver hair, soft hands, and a way of listening that feels like medicine. We met in the community garden, both of us reaching for the last basil starter. He let me have it, said a woman who grows her own herbs deserves the best flavor. On our third coffee walk, he looked at me and said, "You've got a quiet strength, Margaret, like someone who's weathered storms but still shows up with flowers." That's when I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was blooming. And Ethan? Oh, Ethan. He became my anchor through all of it. He took a leave of absence from his company after the courtroom revelations. "I missed too much," he said. "I need time to unlearn the distance I thought was love." He came over nearly every day, at first fixing things, helping with calls to doctors, making sure all the finances Vanessa had tied in knots were finally straightened out. But eventually we began to just sit, talk, be a mother and son without interference. We laughed more. He showed me pictures from his travels I'd never seen. We cooked together while I cooked, and he chopped vegetables like a man trying not to burn water. We shared memories and built new ones. One day while we were potting lavender by the front steps, he said, "You know what I regret the most? What that I ever thought I had to go through her to get to you." I squeezed his hand. "You didn't know." He nodded. "But I'll never let anyone stand between us again." And I believed him, because this time no one could. Even Marcus, Vanessa's ex-husband, sent a letter, a quiet, sincere apology. "I should have looked closer," he wrote. "I thought her sharpness was ambition. I didn't know it was control." The legal process brought closure, but not healing. That had to come from something slower, something internal, something like planting seeds and watching them bloom one breath, 1 week, 1 season at a time. I started keeping a journal again. I wrote things like, "I am allowed to outgrow the stories other people write about me. I am not a burden. I am a woman with history, strength, and wisdom. Peace is not the absence of noise, but the return of self." And slowly the story of my life began to shift. It was no longer about betrayal. It was about recovery. Not just from Vanessa, but from the idea that love has to come at the cost of dignity. That aging means disappearing. That being a mother means being small. I was none of those things anymore. I was Margaret Lynn. I was 65, and I was finally free. One afternoon, as I sat under the arbor Ethan had built for me, Tom brought over lemon cake wrapped in a cloth napkin. "You seem lighter these days," he said, sitting beside me. "I am," I replied. He looked at the garden blooming around us. "And your roses, look at them. You've got red, pink, even white." Any meaning behind the colors, I smiled. Red is for love, pink is for grace, and white is for rebirth. He nodded. "Rebirth at 65, huh?" I laughed. "Why not?" "Because life doesn't expire when you retire. Healing doesn't have a deadline, and joy real quiet. Sustaining joy can still find you when you think you've missed your chance. So here I am, planting roots, pruning what no longer serves me, and watching new petals stretch toward the sun. Vanessa may have stolen years from me, but she didn't take everything. She didn't take my voice. She didn't take my resilience, and she sure as hell didn't take my future that I claimed for myself. I never expected to see my son watering my roses in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon. Ethan, the man who once led $100 million product launches, who juggled calendars packed with flights and contracts, was now barefoot in my garden sleeves, rolled up humming softly as he tended to the soil. It had been 6 months since Vanessa's sentencing, 6 months since the truth came out, and everything shifted. Since then, Ethan had taken a leave of absence from his company, telling the board he needed time to come home. At first, I thought it was temporary. I thought he'd stay for a week or two, help me settle in, then disappear back into his digital kingdom. But he didn't. Instead, he stayed. He moved into the guest room, started joining me for morning walks, cooking scrambled eggs that always came out a little too runny, and asking me questions I never thought he'd ask. Mom, what was Dad really like when he wasn't working? Did you always love nursing? Or did you do it for us? Were you scared when we lost the house? When you had to start over? Questions that came late, yes, but still arrived in time to open doors we'd left closed for too long. One evening we sat on the back porch as the sky dimmed from blue to lavender. Ethan had just finished fixing a crooked garden trellis and handed me a cup of tea, my favorite chamomile, with honey. He took a deep breath and stared out at the yard. I've been thinking about something lately, he said. Something hard. I looked at him, waiting. He didn't flinch. I think I believed you didn't need anything. I tilted my head. What do you mean? He sighed. When I was a kid, you always had this way of holding everything together. You worked late, made sure we had dinner, paid the bills, kept the lights on. Even after Dad died, you never let us see you fall apart. You didn't cry in front of us. You didn't complain. So I just assumed you were invincible. I didn't say anything. He continued. I think that's why I let Vanessa take the lead with your care. I told myself you were strong enough to handle whatever came your way, that you were too independent to need help. And maybe I just didn't want to look too closely because I was afraid of seeing something fragile. There it was. Not an excuse, not a justification, a truth. And like most truths in a family, it didn't hurt because it was cruel. It hurt because it had lived unspoken for too long. I trained you to see me that way, I said, quietly. He looked at me surprised. I did. I nodded. I didn't want you to worry. After your father passed, I felt like if I broke you, and Vanessa would break too. So I kept going. I kept smiling. I kept saying I was fine. And eventually, I forgot how to say I wasn't. He swallowed hard. I'm so sorry, Mom. I placed my hand over his. And I forgive you, Ethan. We sat in that silence, not awkward, not empty, just real. And it was in that moment I realized something. Healing isn't about returning to what used to be. It's about learning to tell the truth in places we once stayed silent. So we kept talking. About the times I skipped meals so the kids could eat, about the dreams I postponed, the loneliness I swallowed, and the parts of myself I forgot along the way. And Ethan told me about the pressure he'd lived with for years, the need to succeed, to repay what he felt he owed me. How every time he launched a new product or hit a milestone, he felt this aching hollowness because he couldn't remember the last time he'd simply sat with his mother and asked, "Are you happy I chased success?" He said, thinking it would bring us closer. I smiled sadly, but I only ever wanted your presence. He looked down. I wasted so much time. I shook my head. Time is only wasted when we stop learning from it. And you're here now. And he was. We started doing little things together, grocery shopping, cooking, reading side by side in the living room like two quiet souls rediscovering how to simply be. He fixed the broken gate. I taught him how to make my old garlic chicken recipe. He introduced me to meditation apps. I introduced him to real silence, no music, no phone, just us and the wind. The bond we built wasn't the one we had when he was a boy. It was better. It was honest. It was earned. I still had moments when grief would sneak in, when I saw an old picture of Vanessa in a school play or found a birthday card she once made me in crayon. Those memories still lived in me, but they no longer poisoned the present. They just reminded me of who I had been and how far I'd come. One evening as we folded laundry together, Ethan looked at me and said, "I never knew rebuilding could feel like this. Like what I asked. Like grace." I nodded. That's what it is. Grace for each other. Grace for ourselves. Grace for the people we were flawed blind trying, and hope for the people we're becoming. Today, I'm 66. I have a home that is truly mine, a garden that blooms with every season, a book club that makes me laugh so hard I cry, a man named Tom who calls every Friday just to ask how my roses are doing, and a son who doesn't just visit me, he sees me. I don't have everything I once dreamed of, but I have peace, and after everything I've lived through, that's more than enough. Because in the end, we don't need perfect families. We need honest ones. Ones willing to look back, say I'm sorry, and begin again with open eyes and even more open hearts. And that's what Ethan and I are doing. We're beginning again. Together. It was a rainy Sunday when Amanda showed up at my door, no warning, just the soft sound of knocking under the rhythm of falling water. I opened the door, still holding a dish towel, expecting it to be Ethan or maybe Tom with his usual bouquet of weekend sunflowers. But it wasn't. It was her, Amanda, Vanessa's ex-sister-in-law, and in her arms, a little girl. The child had soft brown curls tucked under a knit hat, cheeks full and pink from the cold, and eyes so round and curious they stopped my breath. Mrs. Lynn Amanda said, her voice gentle, "I hope this isn't a bad time." I looked at the girl again. She couldn't have been more than 2. Amanda followed my gaze, then knelt so the girl's feet could meet the welcome mat. "Sophie," she said softly, "this is your grandma." My heart didn't just skip, it cracked open in a way I didn't think was possible anymore. I dropped to my knees, not caring about the damp floor or my aching joints. My hands trembled as I reached for her, unsure if it was even right to touch. But Sophie reached back, with complete trust, as if she'd known me all her life. And in that moment, I realized something almost unbearable. I had a granddaughter, and I never knew. Amanda stepped inside carrying a small overnight bag and a letter. "Marcus wanted you to have this," she said, handing me the envelope. "He's deployed right now, but he asked me to bring Sophie to meet you, to finally give her the part of her family that matters." I opened the letter that night after Sophie had fallen asleep, curled beside me, one hand tucked under her cheek. Marcus's handwriting was careful, clear, like a man trying to write without letting emotions spill off the page. "Dear Margaret, I don't know how to apologize for everything that was kept from you. I didn't realize how deep Vanessa's deception had gone until the investigation. Sophie deserves more than the legacy of silence and manipulation. She deserves love. She deserves truth. If you're willing, I'd be honored for you to be in her life as her grandmother. I believe you could show her a kind of love her mother never understood. I know you've lost years, but I also know sometimes the right bond doesn't need time. It just needs presence." With deepest respect, Marcus, I read the letter 3 times, tears slipping silently down my cheeks, staining the edges of the paper. Then I folded it gently, placed it in the drawer by my bedside, and walked to Sophie's crib. She stirred slightly when I brushed her curls from her forehead. "I'm here," I whispered, "and I'm not going anywhere." The days that followed were filled with learning curves and unexpected joys. Sophie liked strawberries, but only if they were sliced thin. She was terrified of loud blenders. She thought roses were magic trees, and every morning she'd toddle out to the garden, asking if the pink ones bloomed yet. She didn't know the story of what had happened, of how close she came to being raised under shadows passed down from her mother, She didn't need to know, at least not yet. What she needed was something else. Consistency, warmth, a lap to sit on during story time, a hand to steady her during her first attempts at climbing the garden bench, someone who would remember her favorite song and sing it off-key just to make her laugh, someone who loved her not as an obligation, but as a calling. And that's what she became for me, a calling, a new purpose, a second chance not just to love, but to guide, to protect her from the inheritance of control, of secrets, of the emotional famine I once mistook for strength. One evening, as Ethan watched Sophie dance in the hallway, wearing one of my scarves like a superhero cape, he turned to me and said, "You know, she reminds me of you." I raised an eyebrow. "How so? She has your fire?" He smiled. "But she also has your softness. She trusts with her whole heart." That made me pause, because trust when it's broken takes lifetimes to repair. And here this little girl was trusting me completely, without conditions, without judgment. She didn't care what had happened. She just cared that I was there, and I would be, always. Over time we built rituals, Saturday pancakes, afternoon walks to the duck pond, story time on the couch where I'd let her read to me from upside-down books just to hear her giggle. I found myself writing again, journaling lessons I wished I'd passed to my own children when they were young. Don't mistake silence for strength. Don't carry more than your soul can hold. Love loudly, even when you're afraid, because Sophie will grow up in a world that may still try to tame her wildness, to confuse obedience with virtue, to ask her to be small in the name of peace. And when that day comes, I want her to remember that her grandmother was once broken, but she rebuilt, that her family line doesn't end in trauma, it bends it, heals, and it blooms again. Sophie became more than my granddaughter. She became my reminder that the story doesn't have to end in bitterness. It can begin again in love. Not perfect love, not easy love, but real, seeing, fierce love, the kind that builds legacies worth inheriting. So here I am, at 66, a mother learning to forgive, a woman learning to rise, and now a grandmother discovering joy all over again, and this time I won't let it pass by quietly. If you had told me 2 years ago that my life would feel full again, I wouldn't have believed you. Not after sleeping through winters in a garage, not after watching my own daughter slowly erase me with a smile, not after learning that love, even from your own blood, can sometimes be a transaction instead of a truth. But standing here now in a home that's warm, filled with the smell of baked apples and the sound of my granddaughter's tiny footsteps, I know something with every fiber of my being. I came back to life. Not all at once, not loudly, but gently. I reclaimed my voice, the one I silenced for the sake of keeping peace. I reclaimed my independence, the kind that doesn't just pay bills, but protects boundaries. And most importantly, I reclaimed myself. I forgave myself for waiting so long to speak up, for believing that love meant endurance, for thinking I had to be low maintenance to be worthy of care. Because I've learned something that took me 65 years to say, without flinching, I am worth fighting for. Not because I'm a mother, not because I sacrificed, but because I am a whole, breathing, feeling human being. And now my life, this new chapter, isn't defined by the betrayals behind me. It's shaped by the beauty I allow in. By Ethan's return, by Sophie's laughter, by dinners where no one pretends, by mornings where the light through the kitchen window feels like a blessing, not a reminder of what I lack. I didn't choose revenge. I chose wisdom. I chose growth. And I chose to live the rest of my life not as someone's shadow, but as someone's light. So if you're listening to this and you've ever felt small, erased, or forgotten, I want you to hear this from someone who's been there. It's never too late to come home to yourself. It's never too late to speak your truth. And it's never too late to remember you are worth fighting for. I learned it in time to matter, and that makes all the difference. Too many women of Margaret's generation were taught to endure rather than express, to be selfless to the point of invisibility, to be easy grateful and above all silent. And what strikes me most is how deeply this silence is mistaken for peace. But silence is not peace when it costs you your dignity. Sacrifice is not love when it's taken for granted. And being strong does not mean you should be left to suffer alone. Margaret's story broke my heart and healed it at the same time, because even after years of erasure, manipulation, and betrayal, she didn't become bitter. She became brave. And that is the kind of legacy we need more of. We need a world where elders are not hidden in garages, literally or emotionally. We need sons who ask questions, daughters who choose honesty over image, and mothers who know their worth is not tied to how little they ask for. It's never too late to choose yourself, to speak up, to begin again. And maybe, just maybe, Margaret's story will remind someone watching this right now to pick up the phone, ask the hard questions, or look in the mirror, and finally say, I matter. If this story stirred something in you, share your thoughts below. What part of Margaret's journey stayed with you? Have you ever felt like her? Let's talk about it. Let's break the silence together.